So we're doing roasted halibut with pickled fennel, a cashew and pistachio butter, which is basically a bernazette, so we're going to bring it up to a hazelnut butter stage. And then this warm potato salad. This is like a really, really straightforward, simple recipe. All you're going to need here is just 4 rings. I want to use some shellfish as it's one of the main things that's exported from Skye. There's probably about 90% of crab, lobster and langston all leave Skye. So I like to try and keep it on the island as much as we can. So what we'll do is just grab your new potatoes. What we're going to look to do is just cut them so they're the same size. So like you see there, these are Jersey Royal potatoes that I've got. But if they're baby new potatoes, they should have a very similar sort of cooking time. Literally just cut these in half and just have a pan ready for them to go into, and we'll put them on the heat. This will just ensure that they're going to cook really evenly and they're not going to cook too quickly as well. So just so they're all in half. You just take them so they're literally just covered in water. A good pinch of salt. I'm using Isle Skye sea salt, which we get locally, but use table salt if you want. That's just good quality sea salt. Once you've completed that, just pop your pan onto the heat, and once you see that it comes up to a boil, just turn it down from there, okay? I always prefer halibut skin off. I feel it's got quite a tough skin. Some people really like it, but usually in the restaurant we'll serve it with skin off. Bring that out of the fridge just now, if you do have it in the fridge. Because what that helps with, a lot of people will just go and cook fish, like a meaty fish like halibut, straight out of the fridge. But if you do bring it out beforehand, it gives it a chance to come up almost to room temperature, and it just allows that we're going to have just a complete even cooking right the way through. Just get a small saucepan like we've got here, and we want to get your water, so your 200 mils of water. There are 4 tablespoons of castor sugar. In this pickling liquor, you can add in shallots, garlic, fennel seeds, coriander seeds, you name it, and it's just going to slightly alter it. I've just put probably like 8 coriander seeds and 8 fennel seeds there. So if you do have them in your store cupboard, go for it. If not, it's completely fine. It's not going to make that much of a difference. It's just going to give it another wee kick. So just add that all together in your pan and just put that to the full setting, and just keep that in the back of your mind that that's on. You're just looking for that to boil, okay? If your potatoes are coming up to the boil, you can just switch them down a touch. So you can just go down whatever 1 notch in your setting is. Bring your fennel as we've got here. Now the most important thing for doing this is just turn it on its sides, like here, and split it right down the middle so that you've got a flat working edge to put it down, okay? So just trim off anything that you don't want, and keep that back and put it into sauce or anything. But what we're wanting to do here is just get absolutely as thin as possible slices out of this. My pickling solution is boiled there, okay? I'm just pulling it off the heat and just putting it to the side. You should just have bits like this now, okay? Fennel cooks really quickly, so what we're doing is kind of cooking it and pickling it at the same time. Once you get to kind of this root here, you can just stop. You don't need to use this last bit at the end because it gets a wee bit tough.
So we're putting the fennel into a bowl and then adding the liquor to it?
Yeah, so if that's boiled and you've got them all sliced, just take a tiny pinch of salt, which can make all the difference into the fennel, okay? On it, just raw. And then just pour all of that solution on top. And what you've got there, you've got a nice kind of pickling solution. There's literally too much there to use with this recipe. So keep that in your fridge. That'll last at least like a couple of weeks. Your potatoes should definitely be boiling by now. Stick a wee knife through them, and if they are cooked, pull them off. But I reckon they should be at least another 5 minutes. The next stage that we're going to do is going to be our sauce, which is pistachio and cashew butter. So you should have 2 cloves of garlic here and your ginger here as well. So we have it kind of like batons just now, so we'll just take it into strips. So just going across the other way, just run your knife through it. Okay, so basically you start one side of the ginger, turn it over, go the other, and now you should have these kind of strands. Just turn it over again and go up the other way. So you're left with tiny wee dices. This isn't like super important. They don't all need to be the same size or anything. As close to it as you can do. Once you've got all that chopped, you'll actually only need about half of it for the butter, okay? Okay, so you've got kind of almost equal quantities of garlic and ginger there. And then just bring your nuts onto the board now as well. Callie, I just said that. your cashews and your pistachios, just chop them up a wee bit at a time till you've got them all chopped. They should be about this size, okay? So you can see them there, they're pretty well chopped. So that's my potatoes ready, so I'm just going to drain them. Like I said, just leave them to the side. You're not wanting to cool them down. We'll come back and we'll just half them again. So that is all the pistachios and the cashews chopped, and the ginger chopped. One container with the ginger and garlic, and one container with the cashews and pistachios, yeah? Okay, so the next stage we're going to go on to is doing our butter, okay? And it's not really as straightforward as this sounds. Okay, so you got your 200 grams there. It's very important that it's chopped up, okay? Now, I'm bringing this size of pan. As you can see, I'm going to put this butter into the pan and we're going to put it on a high heat, okay? And what we're going to do is make a bernazet. And what this does is it completely changes the characteristics of a butter to make it, it gives a really nice kind of back tone of like nutty flavors and a kind of roasted flavor as well. So rather than just pouring a load of butter over the top of your fish, it's going to add a lot more to it. Now what we're going to do here is rather than doing everything at the end, we're going to get everything ready just now. 200 grams of butter. So on the highest heat that it'll go, okay? While that's melting just now, let's get our 2 lemons and just juice 1.5 of them and just put them into a container so we're not going to get any seeds or anything like that. Keeping an eye all the time on the butter. If you see that it's starting to foam already, just push it to the side. So all that lemon juice, it's going to be quite sharp, but because the butter is so rich and fatty, it's going to cut right the way through it. Okay, so mine's bubbling quite nice just now, but I'm still waiting until there's a real change of colour in there. When you add your lemon juice in, you should hear like a real kind of a noise coming off it. See, mine's foaming like this.
Yeah.
But it can still go a wee bit further. So that's me now. I've basically almost like a hazelnut ground. And once you add the lemon juice, it'll kind of go up even a wee bit more. And what happens in there is that'll start to cook out all the ginger and garlic.
Yeah.
Just push that to the side. Now we'll go in with the nuts. All the nuts in. And just give it a nice good mix about. And now is the most important part that we'll add in about a dessert spoon of soy sauce. And then just mix it all about. So you should have your ginger, your garlic, your pistachios, your cashew, and your lemon juice all in there. Now we'll move on to doing our herbs for the potato salad. Now, with all these herbs, some of these herbs are going to go back into the sauce as well. So, as well as we're putting them into the potato salad, they're going to go through the sauce and add even more freshness to that right at the end. So that should just be your chive, your fennel, and your coriander there, okay? Not your spring onions yet. So your spring onions, let's make sure we chop them really thinly, the same as your fennel. If you just take a bowl and just put, you're probably looking at like 10-15 grams of butter there. Cut these potatoes in half again. Add these potatoes into it, just so they melt. Just put it underneath and the butter will just melt gently underneath there. And that's really all you're looking for. It's just a bowl of kind of warm potatoes with some nice melted butter in it. You can add your spring onions in with the salad just now. Just the spring onions, okay? In with the potatoes. And then that's that done and it's out of the way. So go into your dressed crab and pull the dressed crab, pull the white meat out of there. So your butter definitely should have melted by now, judging by the heat of the potatoes. You should be left with this. Add your crab meat in there. So that again is going to coat the potatoes again. Literally just the white meat just now, okay? And just lightly brush through it. Now take a small amount of your herbs, okay? Not all of them, probably about 50%. Your coriander in there. Your chives in there. but make sure and reserve the rest of these herbs to finish off the halibut with, okay? So just take your spoon and just gently mix this through. That should smell absolutely amazing now. Just to even lift that another wee bit, you should have already put 1.5 lemons into your sauce. So let's get your other half lemon and squeeze that into the salad as well, okay? And that's going to bring a lot more freshness in there and a lot more acidity as well, which will once again counteract what you've got in the butter sauce. Just take a teaspoon, and I mean a teaspoon, it doesn't need much at all, a teaspoon of white wine vinegar. And just add that to it as well. And then you're going to get a really nice sort of acidity. So what you're looking to achieve really is get the kind of coating consistency that you would get with mayonnaise in a potato salad, where you're getting it out of the protein of the crab, along with the acidity that you would usually get out of a potato salad is coming from the vinegar and the lemon juice, and the freshness is all coming from the herbs as well. So we've got our pickled fennel ready, we've got our sauce ready, we've got our crab spring onion salad ready. So all we should have left that we've got to prepare is our halibut fillets and the herbs. What I need you to do is get your halibut fillet and just pinch the skin. See, I should be able just to pinch the skin like that between my fingers, it's so thick. Place it down on the board and take your knife, make a small incision but not going through the skin. You should see like this, okay? Take it and push the knife away from you, going back and forth at the same time. Let the knife do the work. Don't go through the fish, keep it down towards the board, okay? Towards the board, you're not going to cut the skin, it's such a thick skin, and it should just come away like that. All you're left with is this beautiful white bit of flesh, and the skin should just be like that with minimal fish on it. Is just take, if you're using sea salt, then just take it and just quite generously over the top. Your table salt, go for it as well, but just a wee bit of salt over the top. Turn it over. And then evenly distributed salt again. Make sure you're using a dry hand when you're doing that. It's such a big mistake that a lot of people use. Let's turn your pan onto full heat with no oil in it, okay? No oil whatsoever. But make sure you've got either a veg oil, olive oil, or rapeseed oil ready to go. My pan's smoking now, and this is what I mean by smoke. Like there's not a huge amount, but it's gently smoking.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good to go. So here I've got the oil, pan smoking, oil in.
How much?
About a tablespoon. And then place the fish down away from you first, okay? So in and away. So now, just turn it down one notch, so the likes of, I was at 80%, sorry, I was at 100%, go to like 80%. And don't be tempted to move the fish yet. If it's making a nice sizzle like this, then you're fine, okay? Just leave it on the heat and don't touch it. Now, while that's cooking, just forget about it, okay? Just put it there, just for the time being. Let's take our pickled fennel, and we'll take about this much. Just go back to your pan and just give the pan a wee shuggle, okay? Just to release the fish. Everyone's looking like this. It should still be on like pretty much 80% heat. So just return this to the pan. And just leave it again, okay? You don't need to touch it again. The biggest thing to this is it must be hot. If you're waiting for it, just take your potato salad and just start to plate it generously. So what you want to do is get a dessert spoon and just push the sauce to the side like this and just get everything in there and add it into the pan. So let's go one, and I mean like a full dessert spoon. 1, 2, 3. Let's call it four dessert spoons into the pan. And what you want to do is just bring the sauce over the top of the fish now. If the sauce is hot, then we're going to add in our herbs. So your chives and your coriander. Okay, and then just bring your halibut up with your fish slice. And you want to place it right on top of your fennel here. So you got your potato salad on one side, your fennel in the other, and then just lift out your halibut, place it on top of the fennel, and then just spoon your sauce over the top. All happy?
Yeah.
Well done. Round of applause. There we go. We're done.